Good evening to those bored enough to watch. Roblox is a major part of my childhood. I've grown up with it and still have fond memories of the countless hours I've sunk into a lot of my favourite games from that time. However, the landscape of Roblox has undeniably changed, as many new games have risen to prominence. As I've grown up, I have felt myself gradually grow out of the platform as a whole, with only brief visits to the games that I used to play, such as Speedrun 4 and the subject of today's video, Field of Battle. This is a game that I've spent a lot of time and Robux with when I was younger, and I still do play this game from time to time. I've been wanting to talk about this game for a while, as it's one that I think stands the test of time very well, and it's also a game that I continue to enjoy during my occasional visits to Roblox, and in this video I want to talk about what makes it so enjoyable to play. So, with that said, let's discuss Field of Battle. The general overview of the game is that there are two teams, that being humans and orcs, that fight against one another to get to their respective generals, which need to be protected at all costs while also trying to attack and kill the other team's general. However, there are many obstacles that obstruct that path, such as NPCs that guard the general and attack the players on site if they're on the opposite team, meaning that you need to eliminate all of them if you want to attack the general. This is a great concept for the game, as it gives you, the player, many ways of approaching the game. You could either systematically pick off the guards and then the general by shooting arrows and using spells, or you could be like me and jump in with an axe and hope for the best. I suppose I should talk about the player's arsenal, in which you're given many weapons to work with, such as swords and axes, and long-range weapons such as bows and spells. One necessity of this game is getting the great sword of flying, as though sometimes you will spawn into maps that disable flying, in most it will be the quickest and most convenient way of moving around the mostly large and open maps. However, do be careful around archers and mages, as though they don't do much damage to you when you're on the ground, if they do hit you when you're flying, you take more damage. This generally means that taking them out the moment you go to the opposing team's base is ideal, as they can take large sums of your health away in mere seconds, as there are a lot of them stationed there. Once again, as annoying as this can be, I really like this concept, as it adds more depth to the gameplay and variety to the enemies, as well as giving the player more incentive to ensure that there are no obstacles in their surroundings before mindlessly flying around. There's also bosses that can be spawned by the leader of each team, which is assigned to a player at random each time a game starts. This also allows for a lot of strategic elements to be applied to the game, as there are many ways that the bosses can be approached, as bosses can only be spawned when there are enough points in the menu, which means that players can decide if they want to spawn bosses the moment they get enough points, or whether they want to wait to garner enough points for what's known as a boss rush, spawning in multiple, if not all of the bosses at once, which can be a challenge for the opposition to fight through all of them at once before they get to the general, and if they do, it'd be a challenge to kill them all before they wipe out the general's health. There's also a progression system, allowing for the player to garner experience through killing enemies, winning games in the sword, though if you're level 20 and above, you get capped at level 20 in the beginner servers, but if you want to unlock your full potential in the progression system, you can always join the pro and elite servers for those looking for an extra challenge. As for the games themselves, they can vary between taking minutes or hours, depending on how things occur. For example, sometimes it can be a simple march to the general and easy kill, though other times, both teams are stuck on a stalemate as they try to eliminate their opposing generals to no avail. In my experience, I quickly became a man obsessed with spawning into the map, flying to the general, getting my ass whooped, and then repeating that in the hopes of gradually taking them down. Though as you can imagine, that didn't work as well as I hoped it would. One of the many things I'll lightly critique is a somewhat heavy emphasis on microtransactions in the game. For example, gems need to be collected through generally playing through the game or just mining away at designated spots on the map. However, for the extremely rare ones, the game gives you the option to just purchase them with Robux, which I don't think is necessarily fair considering how it seemingly pushes this pay-to-win agenda, as players can quickly get far ahead of others by just buying all of the gems and gold. Though I do mention that I lightly critique it, as in my experience, it doesn't obstruct the gameplay for everyone else as much, as fighting players can be avoided by simply engaging with the NPCs more often than other players. There's also different classes you can buy with Robux, such as the assassin that you can see me use here, which I bought a long time ago when I was much younger, in which I think that the game approaches these in a way that doesn't completely ruin the balance of the game, as each class comes with advantages and disadvantages to my knowledge. For example, the assassin class comes with the advantage of me being able to do more damage if I were to attack enemies from behind, and I'm also granted more speed than the average player due to being an assassin. However, I also take more damage, and it takes a lot of skill to try and maneuver around an enemy during single-handed fights, making the class balanced with the rest of the game as to not put others in a complete disadvantage. In general, I think that this game is amazing. Speaking from both a nostalgic and an analytical perspective, I think that this game holds up very well and deserves more attention. I personally grew up with this game and know people who have as well, and to see this game gradually fall more and more into obscurity is rather saddening. So, if you can, please give this game a chance. It's genuinely a brilliant game with many many hours of fun to be had within. So there's the video. I hope you all enjoyed it. I'm still working on the Yakuza 4 video and thought I'd get this video done in hopes of having something out by the end of the year. I'll be trying my best to get the video out before the new year, but I apologize if I end up not being able to. If you want to view the list of games I want to make videos about in the future, then you can always do so through the link in the description. Additionally, if you want to follow me, then my socials will be linked in the description, as well as any afterthoughts or messages I may want to add. With that, I haven't really got much else I want to say, so I'll see you all in my next video. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I wish you all a very pleasant evening.